while we're going on here too.
Go for it.
How come you always call me Nathan and Ben Jason, or sometimes you call us Scott and Greg? Why is that?
I'm always,
That's a good
yeah,
one.
that's a good one. I'm always calling you Nathan and, yeah, and Ben Jason.
Got that, Will? Got all
Go
that?
ahead, Will.
Okay, wait. So,
He's
But
trying
that's
remember
nothing to
Jason.
do with Scott and Greg.
No, it's not.
yeah,
Why don't you just say, tell us about Scott and Greg?
Okay.
When they were little.
is it recording? Tell us about Scott and Greg.
When they were little? How little?
When they were my age.
Born.
Your age?
Now we're gonna talk about when they're born.
Yeah, when they were born.
Well, first let me tell you about when they were real little.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, when Scott was just a little tiny guy, he was just beginning to walk around, and we had a little Christmas tree. We put it up high on the table so that he wouldn't pull it over, and we bought a little squirrel. It was the cutest little thing, and you'd wind it up and put it on the floor, and it would just go hopping around, and it just scared Uncle Scott to death. He just didn't want anything to do with that squirrel.
Still afraid of squirrels?
And we thought we had just found the cutest little thing for him, but he
Mom-
didn't go for that.
Mom loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was really cute, but he didn't like it. He thought it was alive and it was after him. So, just when he was 15 months old, we got a new little baby boy, and it was
And he likes squirrels.
and Scott was probably, my sisters told me that it was my fault that he cried as much as he did, because every time he'd make a squeal, I'd pick him up and they'd say, "You're ruining that baby. You need to let that baby cry." And so I did.
Me.
I guess I did kind of spoil him. But when Greg came along, we had moved over on
Calicampana.
Calle Campana, I guess is how you say it in Spanish. But, and he was such a quiet little baby because I was so busy with the two of them. I couldn't pick him up every time he cried, and he just was sleeping so well that I'd get really scared, and I'd go into his little crib and put my ear down to make sure he was breathing.
One day has great stories she can tell about that.
When I'm 80.
Yeah. So anyway, we lived on Calicampana for
Is that
And-
Mission Beach, Pacific Beach?
Pacific Beach until they were, I would say Scott was he's probably 4. And they were going to tear down the military housing, and so we found us a place up on El Cajon Boulevard.
But it was a great little place because you could hear the neighbors. There was 4 or 5 units in the same building, and they had Celotex walls. So
On Calicampana.
yeah, and so you could hear everything the neighbors were doing.
Did you talk about this already when they would bang on the doors, or Scott?
That was over on Reed Street when we just had Scott, but anyway,
But the price was right, $27 a month, was it?
yeah, $27.50.
That seemed a lot to you then, though.
Yes, it did. I mean, it was cheaper than other places being in military housing. But when they were going to tear it down, we had to look for another place. So we found a place on El Cajon Boulevard behind the shops. In fact, it was behind the laundry.
Laundromat.
And they'd moved that house up on that property. I don't know why, but it was a nice little
How
house.
much was that? Was it a house or an apartment?
It was a house.
And
And
you were
we,
renting?
yeah, we were renting, but we had found us a home in Ally Gardens, and we had put a down payment on it, and we were just waiting until we could move in. All the papers were signed and everything.
Yeah, but we had to come up with $300 for the down payment on that to hold it.
Yeah, and then it was $80 a month, and that was
Wow.
That was
shocking.
$80 a month,
After
and
27.
Yeah.
our interest rate was 1%, and I don't know how we ever did that. But we made it.
But it was while we were living in that house on El Cajon Boulevard behind the laundromat that Scott started the kindergarten. And
Kelly was born there then.
yes. And so we took Scott the first day of kindergarten, and he was so excited to go. And Greg just thought it was great he got to go down there too, and they had these little children's basins over here where they could wash their hands, and Greg was over there just having so much fun with the soap and washing his hands, and Scott's over there playing with all the toys, and he kept saying, go home, and he wanted to be big stuff, and Greg was saying he didn't want to go home. He wanted to stay there with Scott. What a time we
And you
had.
wanted Greg to stay there with Scott.
Yeah, it would have been really nice. Remember that day?
The what?
You remember that day?
I actually
yeah,
remember some of that
absolutely.
day.
Do you?
I do remember walking through the laundromat to get to school and then down kind of a hill next to a big fence
Isn't that
and then going through the
amazing?
fence in. So I do remember some of that.
Oh, that's
That
good.
is something.
That's amazing.
All I remember is Scott beating up on me.
Yeah. But anyway, while we were there, Kelly was born, and I remember Aunt Thora, she worked for the telephone company, and she said, if you want me to help you take care of those boys when your baby is born, and in those days you didn't know whether you were having a boy or a girl, and until it was born, and so anyway, I probably shouldn't tell it.
Don't tell it then.
But anyway, she finally was born, and Aunt Thora then took care of the two little boys. And Kelly,
And lived with Aunt Thora, so she just took them
she
to her
came over to
house.
my house
Wow.
and stayed with them until he got
But she didn't
home.
live very far away.
No, she didn't. But so then when Kelly was about probably a month or 2 months old, we moved in on Glenroy.
I thought you said she was 6 months old.
No, she was,
Just a couple months?
yeah, she was really small. So,
Wasn't it Aunt Thora who didn't like Kelly's name?
yes,
Boy name?
Aunt Thora just had a fit that I was naming her. She
And
called
why did you
him
name her Kelly?
because,
Reminded you of an old Irish cop.
no, that's what
I
Aunt
heard.
Thora said, yeah. She says, here you finally get a girl and you give it an old Irish cop's name. And the reason I liked it was Jimmy Stewart and his wife just had twins, and one of the little girls was named Kelly, and I just fell in love with that name. So Aunt Wilma said, well, why don't you spell it different? Don't spell it K-E-L-L-Y, spell it K-E-L-L-E-E, and that makes it more feminine, and then give her a middle name of Anne.
That was
So,
all Aunt Thora's idea?
no, this was Aunt Wilma,
Oh.
to please Aunt Thora.
Oh.
So, we
A family
decided to
affair.
do that, and
And tell me how you got Scott, how you came up with Scott's name and Greg's name and.
well, that's interesting on Scott's name. Aunt Leonor,
Interesting.
Aunt Leonor was always going to make
She
to
named
her
everybody.
son Scott,
Yeah.
but she never had any children. And the reason she picked Scott was because Uncle Harold's mother's maiden name was Scott.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with that name just hearing her talk about it.
So he was named after a girl?
No,
Uncle.
no.
But her maiden name was Scott, right?
Yeah, her Grandma Brown, her maiden name was Scott, so Aunt Lenore was going to name her little boy Scott if she had one. But
Sure you made him sleep in a drawer?
but I what?
Did you have him in a drawer when he was first born?
Why would she have?
No.
Rather than in a crib?
Why?
It seems like we,
Sorry.
You got him mixed up with one of
Trying to start some
the
kind of
with the prophet.
disinformation campaign. What's going on?
That was President Benson. He was so little that his mother fixed a drawer and for the crib for the baby.
And then how'd you come up with Greg's
Yeah.
and Janelle's and Tim's?
Okay, then Nana Hunter named a boy Greg, and I loved the way she spelled it with 2 G's. So I said to her, and he was quite a bit older, and I said to her one time we were out at a beach party, Nan, would you mind if I used the name Greg for my little boy? And she says, well, no, of course not. And if I have another boy, that was it. So that's how I came up, and then we gave him my maiden name, Jesperson, in the
So
middle.
was Aunt Lenore upset that you named Scott Scott?
Oh,
Because-
she just teased me a little bit. She knew that she was never going to have any children, you know, and so,
But she gave you a bad time for naming me Greg and not Gregory.
yeah, that's right. She thought you ought to be Gregory, but I didn't
Like
like
Gregory
that.
Peck?
No, I didn't like that, but I liked Greg.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
until
With
the
Janelle.
day Uncle Harold died, he always called him Gregory.
Really? You're kidding.
Gregorio.
Oh, yeah, Gregorio. But, so anyway, when we moved into,
Now you have to tell how you got my name and Tim's name, because you already did 3. Gotta finish that.
okay, but you haven't been born yet.
I know, but that's okay, just finish all the names.
This is
Okay,
like a little insert.
alrighty, so when Janelle came along,
Oh, happy day!
I
Happy day.
wanted to name her, I like the name of Jan, but there was already
Who's
a
already
Jan
taken?
in our family, and you weren't
No,
in the
she wasn't
family
around.
then. But,
She was a nut.
but
so
Jan
we don't do that.
D, you know, was in the family, so I kept saying, how can I use Jan? And we came up with Jan L. I made it up.
Yeah, tell the thousands of other.
And
Janelles
now
you did.
there's all kinds of Janelles. And, but really and truly I did. I just kept writing Jan and trying to add to it, and that's what I came up with.
Dad, I want to know how you fit into naming all these kids. So did Mom just and all her sisters come up with the names, and you just
you know,
said
I don't
whatever?
remember she ever asked me.
Oh,
what we did.
I did too. I did. He'd always say, well, honey, whatever you like is fine with me.
So you didn't
Huh?
want to do the Willard or the Jebediah or Josiah?
No,
or, I
not
don't know,
those days. They're doing it
Bevan,
now. Now you have more Isaacs and you name it.
Old,
Isaiah, and-
yeah, Old Testament names.
yeah. But
Okay, and how about Timothy Tijuana Johnny over there?
Well, John is my dad's first name.
So you finally got a family name in
Yeah,
there.
John Frank Wright was my dad's name, so it's Timothy John.
So I didn't do that for Scott or Greg. Have any, like your dad or your dad?
I don't know.
Well, I got the Edward in from
Yeah,
Dad.
yeah,
That's true.
You got dad's name.
And I made a mistake on that one, because when I blessed Scott, I was gonna bless him Scott Edward Wright.
Yeah.
And I got up there and got confused, and I named him Edward Scott
Yeah, but that
Wright.
doesn't matter. You could still.
I've been paying for it all my life.
I know you
I want
have.
you to know that.
E. Scott.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be Scott as E. Scott or Edward S. In Army, it's Edward S.
Oh, yeah.
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 So,
And then how about, and then would you come up with the Tim or Timothy?
I don't know. Yeah, it's
Did that
a
come
Bible
from
name.
Tiny Tim? Isn't that what it is?
No.
I think that was it. We saw, what did he play? The mandolin?
Yeah. Tiny Tim? with the
No,
long
we didn't
dreads?
get it from that
Yeah, and I
ugly
said-
guy.
Oh, Tim, yeah, Tiny
Look
Tim.
at you.
No, no,
Where was it
no, no.
from? Christmas Carol.
No, 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 no. I never would have named him. I just liked the name, and I thought, and it's a biblical name, and so we gave him
Timothy John.
John, which is Grandpa's
Timothy John.
first name.
And how did you come up with the name for Falcon?
That was a long
I think
shot.
you came up with most of the names we called Falcon.
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever called him Falcon. We always had some name for him.
Yeah, and Falcon, our little Indian boy.
Okay, now we digress, so now you can go back
So,
to.
how old was Scott and Greg when you got the cat that had kittens?
No, that was me when I was young.
Oh, but there's a story of Greg climbing up to see the
Yeah.
kittens.
Oh, that's right, we did have a cat.
Yeah, we
We
had a
always had a
mattress
cat.
up on the top of the garage. It was on some
Rickety.
wooden
Slash.
slats. And I don't know how the cat got up there, but the cat got up there and had a bunch of kittens up on this mattress.
She was
Yeah.
trying to escape the boys.
And I put a ladder up there to do something.
Yeah, and you left it
I
and
left it
forgot
there.
about it.
And so Greg called up the ladder and he went over there to see the kittens, and the thing gave way. And he came down and hit his head on that cement floor. Actually, we
And that
had,
explains most of the rest of Greg's life.
yeah. Actually, we had a
I
piece
don't
of
remember that
cardboard.
at all.
Well, no, you wouldn't.
There was
You-
cardboard, a piece of cardboard on the floor that's really saved his life. But he was almost unconscious.
Almost.
He wasn't out, but he was
His
very
eyes rolling in the back of
still,
his head.
yes.
It's amazing how chocolate looks like blood.
Yes. And Dad was up at the barber shop, and one of the neighbor kids,
How old was he?
he was only about 3.
No, because Kelly is only 3 years younger than me.
Yeah, yeah, and you
And we
were,
had just moved in the house, so I was probably 4.
Oh, that's true. That's
Oh,
true.
Or I would have been 3 when she moved in, so you, never mind.
Well, I know you were very young. You were not 3, I don't think. You were close to it.
There was something to do with that chocolate candy bar, wasn't there?
Yeah, because
And we thought
we
it was-
called the police. We called because
did you call the fire department?
he was,
Not that, at that time, we didn't call fire
Yes.
department.
Yeah.
At that time, you didn't call fire department when you had a,
no.
Emergency.
But he was just lifeless, and I was just
How
scared
did
to
you
death.
find him?
I just happened to come out the front door looking for him, and here he was falling off from that mattress
see
up
him
there.
fall off?
Yes, I did. And I almost went insane, and I sent someone up to get Dad at the barber shop, and by that time the police came, and we tried to get him in the police car, and he would not have anything to do with it. He did not want to get in
I thought
there.
he was unconscious.
Well, he didn't go clear out, but when we were trying to get him into the
And the
police
chocolate
car, not yet, he would not go, and so the police said to Dad, "You just take him in your car and you head for the hospital. Follow me, I'll lead you."
Just picked him up and took him? You weren't worried about broken bones or?
Well, I'd already picked him up, which was not too smart, but you're not supposed to do that, but
Greg said you picked him up and shook him.
no, I did not. So when we get to the hospital, they say we need to run a spinal tap because he vomited when we got to the hospital and all this chocolate came out, and they said it was dried blood.
Oh.
So,
You should have tasted it.
yes.
We can